I'm taking a look at Boom Studios' We Only Find Them When They're Dead. This is a brand new comic by Al Ewing, Simone DeMio. And I want to throw some reviews for some non-Marvel, non-DC stuff. I know it's not the most popular, and but we kind of, in the most callous way, I can kind of close my eyes and do reviews for both of the big two for comics that are going to come out 3 months from now. That might be a funny prediction thread. But the independents deserve some love, so let's get to it. This is Boom Studios. We only find them when they're dead. Hey everybody, this is Perch. We've got Boom Studios. We only find them when they're dead. It's written by Al Ewing, illustrated, meaning pencils and inks. But the penciler and inker as one seems to be pulled off better in the indies than in the big two. Feels like the people seem a little bit more equipped with what they're doing. You saw that with Decorum and just some other books as well. Interesting to see how that all goes. But Simone DeMio is on this. Color assists by Maria Sara Miotti and lettered by And World Design. This is, at its heart, it is a science fiction story. Certainly, it's a little bit too early to tell if there's other elements. It has kind of a crime heist type feel to it. Some were saying this was horror, but I don't really feel a lot of horror elements in this. The art has kind of it's kind of a cross between slightly a kind of slick manga feel, although that goes away relatively quickly. But the ships are designed very beautifully. It's got a feeling very much like Rick Remender's Low. So if you're a fan of that series visually, I think you've got some good stuff here as well. So that's a factor. So basically, this comic is set in the far future, 2367, and there are spaceships or scavengers that are out there, and basically they go out and they find gods, giant kind of what they're calling gods, and the gods are dead. And the gods kind of appear and kind of rupture outside of space. And then these ships kind of head in, and they're built to scavenge the body to harvest, basically, the god. They're there to harvest the organs and the eyes and the skin and probably the armor and the plate. They're basically in there to kind of harvest the gods. And harvesting the gods is heavily controlled by the space world government, whatever it is. There's basically lots assigned. The scavengers go in, are supposed to retrieve what's in their lots and leave. But there's, of course, some cheating that goes on from bigger corporations and people who have lawyers and others. Just basically that kind of like anything, the smaller guy gets trumped by the big people. And so in this comic, they basically are our heroes that were introduced to the very beginning. We have a kid kind of talking to his mom, and he's got his ship, and then it takes a one-page jump to the future where the boy is grown up into an adult. He's got some injuries, maybe. It's a little hard to tell, but it looks like he has some injuries in the eye. And so something has happened. His mom is not in the picture. He's got his autopsy ship, crew of 4, and they are here to basically go and scavenge. So most of this comic is devoted to simple act. Colors are very beautiful, lots of purples, lots of golds. You really get this feeling of kind of otherworldly and space in it. And they head to the body and they get a little lot around the cheek, and they hack some of that skin off, and then they package it up in boxes, and that's it. And so the government, or whatever it is, the escort ship, the officer on duty, is either very by the book and corrupt, or just so by the book they're incompetent. I don't know, but basically, if somebody cheats, if they try and kind of get some of the lots out of turn, or they don't adhere to the rules of how they're going to autopsy up this god body, then they get shot and destroyed. So the police have the ultimate authority in what's going on. So it's a Interesting enough premise. This idea of kind of space scavengers and other things. Our heroes are kind of watching this go down. They collect their lots. They have they're on a poor relationship with the officer on duty, who believes they're cheating, and so she makes them basically go through a bunch of additional hoops because she's a jerk. And then we learn that the backstory here is that this officer killed killed our hero's parents, or at least the main character's parents. Not sure if he's the hero yet or not, but they're heavily monitored, heavily controlled by the authorities, and so they have to go to kind of very unusual procedures in order to talk freely. When they go into warp, they are, and that's where we get the little kind of last bit teaser at the end that they are going to steal. They're going to make a move. I'm not completely sure what that move is, but they're going to try and basically they're going to do something illegal. There's also a tease that they've only seen dead gods, and that in 3 days' time they have some information they're going to be able to see a live god, and that's unusual. So anyway, the comic is quick. We basically, we get a lot of time spent really kind of getting into this world of harvesting and autopsy and space and everything else. We really kind of dive into a lot of that before the comic kind of whisks us away, and we're done. This is a comic of kind of setting up the platform, setting up the environment that the people are in, and then teasing that the threat for breaking the rules is destruction, and our the main characters here, our heroes, are going to break the rules. And so that's pretty much all we've got in terms of comics. So it reads pretty quickly, but at the same time, the mood and the atmosphere are pretty nice. It looks gorgeous. I think the color and the art and kind of the use of all this is very, very nice. It definitely has an otherworldly space feel. Concept. What's interesting is the concept. As I was reading this, I felt like I knew where it was going, and I was not wrong. So it wasn't a surprise comic. It wasn't such a high pitched concept that you wouldn't know what's going to happen. I mean, you can kind of the characters are written in such a way that everybody's motivations are so it's going to sound like an insult, but I don't mean it necessarily that way. They're so one-dimensional in the sense that you know what you're in for, and you get what you suspect. And there's nothing wrong about it. There's something comforting about that. Interestingly enough, I think that Al Ewing seems to operate better as a writer, from my personal opinion, when he's not having to deal with the continuity backlog of everything going on in the companies he works for. And as an example of that, you look at what he's done with Immortal Hulk. He's certainly diving into some of the continuity in the supporting cast and other parts of the Hulk, but he's also carving up kind of a new premise, a new concept. And when he goes on books where he's having to juggle a lot of kind of existing mythology, and he's a sucker for it. He likes to bring that stuff in. But it feels like he complicates himself. It's like he outthinks himself, and it gets very, very clunky very quickly. It stops feeling like kind of an organic comic where you've got a story, from A to B, and starts feeling like a lot of, box checking and kind of explaining, kind of reminding and explaining the plot. So I find this a lot more accessible than most of what he's doing at Marvel, with the exception, the Immortal Hulk is a fine enough title, but it's somehow a cleaner read here, and it feels like a more true read or a more pure read. So if you're an Al Ewing fan, but you don't always like all the continuity junk he gets up to with Marvel, this might be great for you. So is this book for you? If you like sci-fi and you like a relatively breezy story that is got some high concept elements, but isn't like Jonathan Hickman, where you're having to study charts and graphs to try and figure out exactly what he's going for. This is an easier read than, say, what Rick Remender did with Low and some of his books. It's easy to pick up. It's easy to go with, and it feels written for some level of TV adaptation in the future in its own way. So I think if you're a fan of sci-fi, you're interested in some new concepts. You don't want anything too complex, but you want some new elements, and you're interested in some kind of space shenanigans, a space heist, some kind of skirting danger, then this could be a good book for you. Boom's doing some interesting stuff, so if you have a chance, you might want to check it out. Otherwise, what do you think? Did you buy this? Are you into it? Did you enjoy it when it came out? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think, and if this intrigues you, if you haven't seen it, or if you have a different take on it because you read the first issue. Love to know what you think. So otherwise, hey, throw a like out there, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Your subscriptions keep the Patron flowing in, as they say. But otherwise, most importantly, thanks for listening.